decade, alongside the classical What Makes It Great programs I was performing, the books and CDs on classical music I was writing and recording, and the new classical pieces I was composing, I chose one major Broadway composer to focus on each season. I analyzed hundreds of that composer's songs in order to create a single evening-length program on their music. One year I focused on Gershwin, followed by a year on Berlin, then Porter, Kern, Arlen, Rodgers, Bernstein, and Sondheim. In addition to immersing myself in each composer's music, I delved into their biographies, and each year the scope of my research widened. As I began to investigate cultural and historical context as well, I saw how deeply the American Songbook reflected, often in not immediately apparent ways, the times in which it evolved. Combining a close-focus musical reading with a wide-angled historical point of view brought classic songs like Over the Rainbow or Let's Do It to life as if they were brand new. Like dusty old master paintings that had suddenly been cleansed of years of dirt and grime. Audiences seemed to be as amazed as I was to meet these great songs again as if for the first time, both as extraordinary music and as striking reflections of their contemporary worlds. In writing this book, I have chosen to explore 16 songs by 8 of the greatest Broadway songwriters, from Kern to Sondheim, 14 from Broadway shows, and 2 from film musicals. Obviously, with so many songs to choose from, 20 more books could be written, using different and equally great songs from each composer. I have chosen ones that speak most directly to me, and ones that I feel can most deeply benefit from a close musical reading, while also being put into some larger cultural context. When Irving Berlin's White Christmas became a symbol of American values for homesick GIs during World War II, Berlin explained that songs make history, and history makes songs. Focusing on the intersection between history and music, looking at these songs as both extraordinary musical compositions as well as deeply meaningful reflections of an evolving America finding its voice, is at the heart of this book. A large portion of the music I will explore comes from a period that is often referred to as the Golden Age of the Broadway musical, roughly the years from the 1920s through the 1950s. The age of Kern, Berlin, Porter, Gershwin, Arlen, and Rodgers. Though this might seem to suggest a uniform, Edenic, static musical era, the period was actually bursting with dynamism. Much like America itself, Broadway was being invented moment by moment, song by song, scene by scene, show by show. As America emerged out of Europe's shadow and onto the world stage after World War I, the country tried to find an artistic voice of its own, and the Broadway musical was one of the first places this voice emerged. Painters, architects, writers, and composers were all listening for America, for the country's shape, texture, look, and sound, for its stories and its voice. And if we look at the songs of its greatest theater composers from the right angle, we too can listen for America inventing its identity as the country responded to the mind-boggling transformations of the Roaring Twenties, the Depression, World War II, and the post-war and Cold War years. In a discussion of her book, Draw Your Weapons, author Sarah Centillis compares her approach to writing to that of Fred Wilson's 1992 art exhibit, Mining the Museum, in which he provocatively put disparate objects, like a fine silver pitcher and a goblet, in a display case, alongside a set of slaves' shackles. Centillis says that, like Wilson's exhibit, her book tried to put pieces together that you wouldn't otherwise put together, as an invitation to think, and not a polemic. Similarly, in my book, I juxtapose the biography of the real Annie Oakley and Frank Butler with the version presented in Annie Get Your Gun, the reality of Depression-era America with the version presented in Gershwin's Girl Crazy, the advertisements of 1920s girly magazines with the envelope-pushing morality of Cole Porter,